Everybody was born right-handed. We just overcame it. Hello and welcome to Crazy Random Facts. Being a lefty myself, I thought it'd be fun to show some love to another minority group in the world, the lefty. Sit back and enjoy as I cover over 25 facts you may or may not believe. Did you know that only 12% of the world is left-handed? On a side note, only 1% are ambidextrous. All the rest of you are righties. However, we are creeping up on you. The percentage of lefties in the world is slowly growing as being left-handed becomes more socially accepted. To this day, some countries still try and force children to learn to write with their right hand. Talk about discrimination. Back in the 1860s, lefties were perceived as being outcasts. The left-handed population was only about 2% at that time. Okay, so apparently there are negatives to being a lefty. They are more prone to have allergies. Researchers have also determined that lefties are more likely to have autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis. They tend to have more migraines and suffer from sleep deprivation. I must be a lucky lefty because I don't have any of those ailments. Have you ever heard that phrase, left-handed people are always in their right minds? Well, that's because lefties use the right side of their brain to control speech, coordination, and creativity. In 1973, a psychologist named Paul Bacon wrote a paper titled Left-Handedness and Alcoholism. He noted that a higher than expected number of patients in an alcoholism ward were left-handed. And now for the good news. This was proven incorrect in a 2011 study written by Dr. Kevin Denny. He looked at 25,000 people from 12 countries and concluded that being a lefty did not result in excessive drinking later in life. Although it did suggest left-handed people tend to drink at moderate levels more than right-handed people. So go ahead and have that cold one, you lefties. Just be sure to stay responsible. There have been several studies that suggest lefties are smarter than righties. It's similar to those religious and political debates for some people. The answer can vary depending on your sources. The 2007 study shows that lefties are more likely to have higher IQs. Another study in 2010 claims righties are the smarter ones. So which is it? In an attempt to settle this debate, two researchers from the University of Athens in Greece compiled data from several different studies to create a much larger sample size. Ready for the results? Right-handed people are smarter on average, but just barely. Assuming that the average left-hander had an IQ of 100, the average righty would be at about 101.5. That's close enough for me to call it a tie. According to studies, lefties tend to reach puberty 4 to 5 months later than righties. Hey, if you are enjoying this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us get noticed. We greatly appreciate you. So apparently, lefties have a tendency to suffer with language issues. A 2009 study from Finland found that mixed-handed children are more likely to experience language and scholastic issues, which can stretch into adulthood. In addition, a 1993 Norway study looked at 734 children and found a significant association between dyslexia and being left-handed. Did you know more males are likely to be lefties? I'm one of those. A 2008 study found that 23% more men are lefties. The study gathered data from 144 individual studies, including a sample size of almost 2 million participants. So with that large of a study size, it makes it accepted and statistically relevant. Lefties are better at multitasking. Another study in 2008 by the Illinois Research Consortium showed that lefties and righties deal with tasks and memory performance in different ways. Experiments showed that when given 2 tasks to complete simultaneously, the lefties perform best. This is likely because righties tend to solve problems by breaking them down into parts, then analyze each part one at a time, where lefties tend to look at the problem as a whole and use pattern matching to complete the tasks. How about a false fact for you? Lefties live on average 9 years less than righties. Don't worry, you can breathe a sigh of relief, as this left-handed statistic was later disproved, although it's still widespread on the internet. There was a study released in the 1980s that looked at 1,000 deceased people from California. It showed the average age of right-handed subjects that died was 75, and for lefties it was just 66. The problem with that study assumed that the number of left-handed people remained the same over time. Many people born in the early 1900s were forced to write right-handed. They would not have identified as being left-handed at death. Due to that fact, the findings from this study have largely been discredited. So fret not, lefties. Since this report has been completely discredited, you can breathe a nice sigh of relief. Did you know that lefties recover from strokes faster because they primarily use the right side of their brain? For the majority of the population, the left side of the brain controls most of our language function. This is the reason why most strokes and brain injuries that occur on the left side will have an adverse effect on your language. 95% of righties have left brain dominance when it comes to language control. That percentage drops to 70% for lefties. That is a definite plus when it comes to being a lefty. Lefties can also have an advantage in the world of sports. Lefties make for great baseball players, tennis players, swimmers, boxers, and fencers. About 40% of the top tennis players today are lefties. We tend to be better in one-on-one sporting activities. This is mainly because right-handed players are used to playing against other right-handed players. We throw them off balance. Now get this, tennis champion Rafael Nadal is really a righty, but he learned to play lefty to give himself an advantage. It worked out very well for that Spaniard. So this one was new to me when doing the research for this video. Every year on August 13th is International Left-Handed Day. Us lefties get our very own day to celebrate our uniqueness. Yeehaw! The day is supposed to help promote awareness of the problems that we experience living in a mostly right-handed world. Man, I'm 54 and have never, air fingers quote, promoted awareness of any problems I face. I'm all good. Let's go celebrate our uniqueness. It's the truth. Lefties tend to be more creative. In a 2007 study, researchers found that creative people like painters and musicians were more likely to be left-handers. In another study from 1977, it was determined that a higher than expected number of architects identified as being lefties. 5 of the last 9 presidents are lefties. Ronald Reagan was left-handed but was forced to write right-handed, and Gerald Ford was left-handed, but he would switch back and forth. Neurologists have reported that lefties seem to adjust to underwater vision more quickly than righties. Talk about random facts. If you have any interesting lefty facts to share, please leave a comment below. Also, if you are enjoying this video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate the love. I'll wrap it up with this. In a 1998 study titled Left-Handedness and Tongue Rolling Ability, it was found that fewer lefties could roll their tongues than righties at a rate of 62.8% to 74.8% respectively. I sure hope this study wasn't paid for by some silly government grant. Thanks again for watching, and as you slide down that banister of life, I hope the splinters are facing the opposite direction. We'll see y'all tomorrow.